Do you ever wonder why you see the same ad everywhere right after you watch a YouTube video? Or how apps seem to know your age, your interests, and even when you're feeling down? It's not magic, it's data theft. And the real kicker, you and your child's data is being scooped up and sold, sometimes 450 plus times per day, and often without your knowledge or consent. Today, we're going to break down exactly how your child is being taken, who profits from it, or who profits off of it, and most importantly, how can you stop it? And if you stick around, I'll show you a step-by-step how to block the worst offenders using Apple's built-in parental controls. And I'll share how you can get even more help from me personally and directly. Welcome to the Parent Tech Support Show, where I empower parents with the tech knowledge they need to know to protect their kids online. My mission is to demystify parental controls, share practical tips, and reveal the tricks that kids use so that you can navigate the online world with confidence. I'm your host, Jack Hughes, and because I grew up in this age of digital devices, I've had plenty of experience with getting around parental controls and doing things I wasn't supposed to. But those days are now over. Today, I use all that inside knowledge that I gained as a kid to help parents, such as yourself, protect your kids online. And I've done it for countless other parents in schools. I've even written a book on how to help parents protect their kids online. So, diving into today's topic, why do these platforms want your child's data? And it's quite simple. For the same reason that your bank will give you free lollipops, the simple answer is money. Money makes the world go around. And the more data that they collect, the more personalized the ads can be, and the more personal means their ads become more profitable. Data lets platforms charge premium ad rates and hit quarterly targets. If your child watched a toy review and then later they saw ads for that same toy on Amazon, they're going to be much more likely to buy that toy or to want you to buy that toy. These companies also sell all the information they gathered about your child to other advertisers. And they essentially share this data with each other. Sort of like how companies will sell your phone number and your emails to other companies. Now, at first, if you're feeling uneasy, you can check out my website at parenttech.support and book a call with me, and I'll walk you through a customized privacy sweep of your child's device directly and personally. But the next question on data theft and how these companies are taking your data, now that we know why they want to take yours and your child's data, the next question should be is how do these platforms take up or scoop up your kids' data? Of course, there is visible data that they get when you sign up for a service. You give them your name, you give them your birthday, you give them your email, you give them their phone number or your phone number, or your child gives them their phone number when they sign up for a service or some product. And that's pretty understandable. Of course, they're going to have that data. They need that data to track you, but they also might use that data for other reasons, for selling it for advertisers or whatnot. So that part in of itself is scary, but the scary part is the invisible tracking. So every mouse click you make, your device ID is tracked. Every mouse click that you make is tracked. What you've watched, all of your videos that you watch is tracked and watched and these companies know that. They know how long you've watched these videos. So if you watch a certain video for longer compared to another video, it'll know certain things about you. It tracks your location via your IP address, how fast you scroll on certain things to see how interested you are in one subject compared to another. It even tracks your typing rhythm, so it sees how you type, and that can tell the computer a little bit about you. It tracks what you've Googled and what links you've clicked after you've Googled. So if you always click the third result, chances are you like the third result more. What's scary on like companies like Facebook and Instagram, they even have facial recognition for Instagram posts and Facebook posts. And it can recognize your face and tell that you're a female who's in their 30s, or your child is a 8-year-old boy who likes train toys because there's a train toy in that photo and he's 8 years old and a boy. And so Facebook now knows that, and now it's able to market toys for your child and sell that data to other people who will market the same thing to your child. And it's able to track so much more, and all these companies have other ways that they track people that I don't even know about, that the public doesn't even know about. And for example, these companies might know that your child is 7 years old and that he is a male because it scanned their face on Facebook. They might also know that he wants a red train because he watched a YouTube video for 10 minutes about a red train. And they also know that he doesn't want a blue bike because the YouTube video that he watched about a blue bike, he only watched it for 30 seconds. And they might know that he wants this certain company because all the websites he visits are on that one company that makes that one red train. And they know his location based off the IP address that he uses. And so now they're able to recognize, or they're able to recommend him ads for that area, for that red train, for that company, and they're able to market it in such a way that is best for a 8-year-old male boy who likes toy trains, or maybe lives in Missouri or something like that. So they use all this data to best market to your child, and usually this isn't controlled by a human being just because there's so much data, and surely a human being can't control all this. Usually this is all done by algorithms and AI that does all this sort of stuff, but they still have all that data, and they have literal personal like descriptions of a person. So they will have like a description of me. I'm 19 years old, I like dirt bikes, and blah 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 blah. Or they know my political leanings and stuff like that. They probably know your political leanings. So everything you do and everything your child does online is being tracked, or at least most likely being tracked and used in some way. In fact, the apps that your kids use for school, even those apps are being tracked by ed tech, by these companies and by ed tech companies. In fact, 90% of ed tech apps, these are apps like Quizlet, apps that are designed for education. 90% of these apps used by students and kids include data trackers like cookies and stuff like that to track data and collect data about your child. And the FTC, an FTC report in 2024 reported calling it a vast surveillance with no real safeguards for kids and teens. So all this sort of stuff and about how your child's data is being tracked, how your data is being tracked, but why are kids in particular, why are they such a goldmine? Why do these advertisers love marketing to children especially? So here's why. Number one, they give good lifetime value. You hook a 12-year-old today, and they will become a customer for the next 60 plus years till they die. So you get a kid in love with a Ford F-150. Like, Ford doesn't even have to sell a child a truck when they're 12 years old. A Ford's not going to sell a child a truck when they're 4 years old. Excuse me, not 4 years old. That's way too young. But they're not going to be able to sell a truck to a kid who's 12 years old. They are able to make that kid a fan of Ford, so when they are old enough, let's say they're 30 and able to buy a brand new truck, they buy a Ford truck. So this is essentially lifetime brand hooking on kids. And they use, with all this data, they're able to use psychological targeting. So platforms will, as I was saying earlier, will create creepy, detailed micro profiles for specific kids and for specific people. So this 13-year-old girl who lives in Wisconsin who likes volleyball and is anxious about acne, well, let's give her makeup stuff and market it on volleyball websites and apps like that. And these kids who are a lot younger and they don't have I'm sure you've heard about the prefrontal cortex, and they don't have their will fully developed and they can't logically think yet. As much as I hate to hear that as a teenager, it's still true. Now, you might have heard about all that sort of stuff. And so these kids are a lot more likely to make emotional decisions. And that's exactly what these advertisers use. They use emotional manipulation, essentially, with all this data, to get your child to buy stuff, or to get your teenager to buy a bunch of stuff online and to target them. So I may have already talked about this as I was talking about how these companies are targeting children and why do they want to target children in particular. But I think it deserves its whole section in of itself, and that is, why is targeting on kids, why is that bad for your kids? So hyper targeting ads means that they will want to buy more toys. I already talked about this earlier, but that's a pretty solid bullet point there. But worse, these advertisers, as I was saying earlier, they will prey on your child's insecurities. Like the example I gave about that girl who played volleyball and she had acne, and they market makeup quick fixes to her because they know that your daughter is insecure. Now, this in of itself is not good. Marketing to kids' insecurities is only going to exacerbate. I'm not sure if that's the right word. It's only going to increase. That's a good word. Increase their insecurities and increase their self-image. Like, for me, I'm on Instagram and I may be insecure about my body because I'm not as muscular as this, 30-year-old jack dude on steroids. And so I get marketed, like fitness stuff, or even like SARMs or something like that. And that's just going to exacerbate my insecurities on not being big enough, because I don't have all the products to make me big, and I can't afford all the products that make me big like these people. And that kind of gives you a cycle. And there's, all the other subjects, like you can think of a kid who really wants to get really good at basketball, and they don't think they're that good at basketball, so they market them basketball shoes that's supposedly going to make them really good at basketball, but they can't afford these shoes. So I'm actually really even worse at basketball. And it's kind of like a vicious cycle that these advertisers will take advantage of. And another problem with having all this data about your child, not just the marketing itself, but another problem with all the data that these companies will get, and they'll gather really extensive data about your children. They might know their political leanings, they might know their religion, they might know everything. They know essentially everything about them through all this tracking, their address, their IP address, their location, and that sort of stuff. Another really big problem with that is their data might get leaked, or the companies themselves might get hacked and their data might be stolen. And now their location and contact information is out there and exposed. And this happens all the time. Many services have been hacked, or they've just leaked all this data. I know Facebook got in big trouble about that, about their data being lost and leaked out to the public, and people can buy that data. That same data could be purchased by predators through shady brokers on the dark web. It has been shown that mental health also takes a hit when your child is targeted based on their fears and weaknesses. This is what I was just saying earlier. In fact, 32 states have sued Meta for knowingly designing features that harm teens' mental health. And they knew that the data they collected was hurting kids, but yet they didn't care. So I just talked about how bad all this sort of stuff is. What can you as the parent do to protect your child from all this creepy, encroaching, terrible stuff that people are trying to get your child's data and use it to harm them and to get them to buy stuff for profit? What can you as the parent do to protect your child from all of this sort of stuff? Well, number one, delete all the apps that do the most tracking on your child's device. Like, social media, delete Instagram, delete Snapchat, delete shopping apps like Amazon, Best Buy, that sort of stuff. But the key in that, you can't just delete them. You have to prevent them from being able to re-download them again. And you can do that by going to settings, going to screen time, going into content and privacy restrictions, going to App Store purchases, and toggling installing apps to do not allow. Also, just as we blocked the apps and prevented them from re-downloading the apps, it's also important to block the website version of these apps. So I've talked to many parents, and they think they protected their child from Instagram or Snapchat or YouTube or the YouTube app just by deleting the apps and preventing them from re-downloading that. And I get their sentiment, and they think that they protected their child from social media, but they didn't do everything. There's still Instagram.com, there still is YouTube.com, and there's still Snapchat.com that these childs can just visit, or that their kids can just visit and still use Instagram. So it's important to also block the web content and prevent them from being able to access these websites, access Instagram.com and YouTube.com. And so you can do that by going to, again, you go to screen time, you go to content and privacy restrictions, you go to web content, and you toggle that to limit adult websites only. Now, after you set up the web filter and you turn off, you prevent them from deleting or re-downloading these social media apps and these worst offenders, you want to make sure that this all is protected with a good screen time password, a good screen time pin. And kids know many ways around these parental controls, so you might need help to block them from getting around these parental controls. And this is one of the main reasons why I started this podcast here, is to expose these loopholes that kids use, that I used to use as a kid. And it's because I'm an expert in all of this. I know all the loopholes that I've started this podcast. And I also offer a call with me and a service that you can work with me directly, and I can help you protect your kids online. And I can help you with all this sort of stuff and blocking your child from social media and blocking your child from all these apps and services that take their data. Again, if you want to learn from me, you want my help, go to my website at parenttech.support, and I'll work with you personally. And you'll get in a call with me. We'll be in the same room right here that we're in right now, and we'll talk about how I can help you protect kids online. It's all remotely too. I don't think I made that clear. It's over Zoom is the service that I use. So another step that we can do to protect your child from their data being stolen from social media and stuff is to locking down their existing accounts. So you can set their Instagram profiles to private. You can set all their social media profiles to private. Make sure you disable personalized ads on all these services, and you disable ad-based profile toggles on services like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. A lot of these companies are required by law to offer personalized ads turn off, so they can't target you based on yourself, based on the data they collected. So you can disable a lot of these things. Make sure you turn off location history, imprecise location, at least on iPhones and Apple products. You can do that. You can nuke all the traffickers at the network level. So in Safari, you can go to settings, you can go to privacy and security, and you can prevent cross-site tracking. Plus, you can hide your IP address so they can't track your location. You can do something similar in Chrome by going to settings, privacy, and block third-party cookies. You can also, another really good option is to use a VPN. This again will also mask your IP address, and you can set it up to be more private online so they can't take all your information as well. Good options are like ExpressVPN, NordVPN, Surfshark VPN. There's dozens and dozens out there. I'm sure all of their special benefits and stuff, but a VPN is a great tool in protecting your data and your child's data from all of these greedy companies and hackers and just malicious actors out there. And I'd say one of the most important things as well is to disable cross-app tracking. And this, sadly, is only an Apple exclusive. Only Apple phones and Apple products can do this. And this is blocking apps from tracking you across different apps. And you can toggle that by going to settings, privacy and security, going to tracking, and toggling that to apps. Allow apps to request to track and turn that off. So in conclusion, the quote-unquote free apps are never really free. Your child and you pay with your identity and your attention. Your child's digital footprint is being built right now. Every click, every scroll, and every video they watch is data. And unless you step in and prevent that, that data becomes a product for sale and for everyone else. But you're not helpless. You can take simple, powerful steps to reduce what is collected and keep your child safer online. Now, again, if you're overwhelmed with all this and need help from an expert, or if you want to be 100% sure and you want peace of mind that your child is safe online, book a call with me personally on my website at parenttech.support. That's free, no strings attached, and we'll talk about how I can help you protect your child and how we can set up filters and block trackers and lock down their device. Or if you just have any questions with something related to protecting your child online, then I got your back. But that's all for today. If you found this podcast helpful, don't forget to share it with another parent. Like and subscribe as well if you're on YouTube. And I'll see you next week on the Parent Tech Support Show.